They said the enforcer was dead. They said fighting in hockey was gone, buried under rule changes and analytics. But then, these guys showed up. You didn't just play against them, you survived them. From viral one-punch chaos to game-altering brawls, these are the men who proved that even in the modern NHL, you still don't mess with the tough guys. This isn't a list of 1980s goons or black and white legends. This is post-2000 mayhem, a spotlight on the Warriors who kept fists flying well into the 2000s and 2020s. So who are they? Let's drop the gloves and find out. Number 15, Ryan Reaves. Ryan Reaves isn't just an enforcer, he's the boogeyman of the modern NHL. At 6 feet 2 inches and 225 pounds, Reeves is built like a linebacker and skates like one too. But what really sets him apart? He loves fighting, smiling before a scrap, laughing after a knockout. He's that kind of terrifying. Ask anyone. When Reeves steps on the ice, the temperature drops. Fights with him aren't just brutal, they're violent highlight reels. In one memorable showdown, Reeves obliterated Brett Gallant with a clean uppercut that echoed through YouTube for weeks. He squared up with Evander Kane, Zdeno Chara, Tom Wilson, and sent a message every time. You want chaos? I am chaos. Even in a league where fighting is fading, Reeves remains employed because no one else can do what he does or survive it. Number 14, Brian McGraten. Some guys fight to protect, some fight to intimidate. Brian McGraten, he fought because violence was an art, and he was Picasso with fists. Standing 6 feet 4 inches and weighing 235 pounds, McGraten was one of the last pure heavyweights in the NHL. His fights didn't feel like hockey scuffles. They felt like gladiator matches, where one wrong move could end with someone face down on the ice. In 2013, he squared off with Paul Bissonnette in a tilt so vicious, it felt like a throwback to the 70s. No helmets, no fear, just two giants trading haymakers until one collapsed. And it wasn't McGraten. He didn't chirp, he didn't play games, he just handled business and left a trail of broken noses behind him. Ask around the league and you'll hear the same thing. You don't fight McGraten unless you have to. Because once the gloves dropped, he wasn't just throwing punches, he was trying to take your soul. Number 13, Milan Lucic. You don't accidentally earn a reputation like Milan Lucic's. You build it with your fists. Lucic was a key member of the 2011 Boston Bruins Stanley Cup team, and his role went far beyond stats. He was the wrecking ball that made stars like Bergeron and Marchand feel safe. Lucic didn't fight often, but when he did, it was biblical. One punch dropped Mike Komisarek so hard, Leafs fans flinched in the upper deck. His fights were clean, calculated, and brutal, and his stare afterward made sure no one forgot. Even as he aged, Lucic kept the fear alive. Young players respected him, veterans remembered him, coaches used him to send messages, and if you ever caught him glaring across the red line before a face-off, you knew exactly how your night was about to go. Number 12, Matt Martin. Matt Martin is the kind of player who defines a team's identity. Literally. As part of the Islanders' identity line, Martin earned his reputation one shift, one hit, and one fight at a time. Standing 6 feet 3 inches and clocking in at 220 pounds, Martin never takes a shift off. And when the gloves drop, he's a freight train in a cage match. His battle with Ryan White in 2016 looked more like a boxing match than an NHL fight. Both guys landed bombs, but Martin came out smiling. Like he always does. He's not just tough, he's consistent, always willing, always dangerous. And in a league where grit is often replaced by skill, Matt Martin stayed relevant because of one thing. He made people feel him, physically, emotionally, and psychologically. Number 11, Patrick Maroon. Blues Lightning, wild. They call him the Big Rig, and not just because he's 6'3" and nearly 240 pounds. Patrick Maroon is a freight train of fists, but what makes him truly dangerous is that he does it all with a smile. He's a Stanley Cup champion 3 times over, and he earned every bit of that ice time by being the guy no one wanted to deal with in the corners. He doesn't start fights for fun, he starts them when his team needs a spark, or when someone messes with a star. And when Maroon goes, he goes hard. Whether it was pounding on Cedric Paquette or dragging Zdeno Chara into a playoff brawl, Maroon made one thing clear: he's not a goon, he's a weapon, a human momentum swing, and when he's angry, that weapon becomes nuclear. Number 10, Nicola Deslorier. Nicola Deslorier might be the most underappreciated enforcer in today's NHL. He doesn't chirp, he doesn't showboat, he just beats people up. In a league obsessed with speed and skill, Deslorier is a pure throwback fighter. a gladiator who makes every punch count and every fight feel like life or death. Watch his 2022 fight with Tanner Jeannot. It wasn't just a scrap, it was a war. Two heavyweights throwing bombs with no concern for their own safety. Deslorier leads the league in fighting majors nearly every year, and his teammates love him for it. Because when he's on the ice, they skate a little taller, knowing that if anything goes sideways, Deslorier is coming with violence. He's not flashy, he's not famous, but in locker rooms across the league, his name is sacred. Number 9. Zack Cassian. Zack Cassian didn't just fight people, he hunted them. Unpredictable, volatile, and brutally strong, Cassian earned a reputation as one of the most feared loose cannons in modern hockey. One second he'd be throwing a clean check, and the next, you're seeing stars. He's the guy who dragged Matthew Tkachuk into a grudge match so heated, it practically created its own rivalry. And that wasn't unusual. Cassian's temper could explode in an instant, often without warning. What made him terrifying wasn't just the strength, it was the edge. The sense that at any moment Cassian might go too far. He wasn't just tough, he was unstable. And when he started skating toward you with fire in his eyes and his gloves already falling off, you had one thought: get off the ice. Number 8. Brandon Prust. Brandon Prust wasn't the biggest guy in the league, but pound for pound, he was a menace. At 6 feet, 195 pounds, Prust didn't care who you were. He'd fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. Heavyweights, middleweights, stars, rookies. If you disrespected his team, you were getting punched in the mouth. What made him so beloved in Montreal and New York wasn't just his fists, it was his attitude. Every shift was a battle, and every fight felt personal. In one unforgettable moment, he dropped Zach Ronaldo with a single hit, then stared down the Flyers bench like he was inviting everyone to try him. He wasn't built to dominate physically, he was built to send a message: mess with my guys and I will make you regret it. Number 7. Wayne Simmons. They called him the Wayne Train, and if you weren't ready, he'd run you over. Wayne Simmons wasn't just an enforcer, he was a legitimate power forward who could rack up 30 goals and 100 penalty minutes in the same season. A unicorn in today's NHL, but don't let the stat sheet fool you. When things got ugly, Simmons was always the first to drop the gloves. His fights weren't for show, they were for honor, for team, for pride. In 2012, he took on John Erskine, a much bigger man, and absolutely dominated him with rapid-fire bombs, and the very next shift, he was back on the power play, tipping in a goal. Simmons didn't fight to prove toughness, he fought because he was built for it, and the league respected him for it. Number 6. Antoine Roussel. Antoine Roussel was one of the most hated pests in the NHL, and he loved every second of it. He had the speed of a winger, the mouth of a villain, and the fists of a guy who just didn't care about consequences. Roussel fought not just to protect teammates, but to ignite chaos. He'd chirp you all night, slash you when the ref wasn't looking, and then grin as you chased him, because the moment you did, he was already swinging. He dropped gloves with everyone from Chris Neil to Milan Lucic, always punching above his weight, always earning respect. Roussel didn't back down because he wasn't wired to. He came to every game like it was war. And for him, the real fun didn't start until the fists flew. Number 5. Marcus Felinho. Marcus Felinho doesn't fight often, and that's what makes it scarier when he does. At 6 feet 3 inches, 225 pounds, Felinho is built like a UFC heavyweight and hits just as hard. But unlike some enforcers who look for trouble, Felinho waits, and when he decides it's time, it's already too late. Ask Braden Shen. In 2022, Felinho dropped him with a savage right hook in a fight that lasted seconds, but made headlines for days. One punch, game over. Felinho fights with control, precision, and real menace. His body language doesn't scream rage, it whispers something worse: calculated violence. And the league knows it. When Felinho drops the gloves, players don't rush in to help. They hesitate, because when he swings, someone's going down. Number 4. Erik Goodbransen. Erik Goodbransen is a defenseman by trade, but don't get it twisted. He's a brawler in disguise. At 6 feet 5 inches and 222 pounds, Goodbransen is one of the most physically imposing players in the NHL. He doesn't just fight, he inflicts. He's gone toe-to-toe with Ryan Reaves, Milan Lucic, Zack Cassian, the toughest of the tough, and never blinked. But what sets Goodbransen apart is his timing. He picks moments that change games. When his team needs energy, when someone takes a dirty hit, he steps in, gloves down, fists ready. He's not a goon, he's a protector. And in today's NHL, that's a rare breed. Goodbransen's fists don't just defend, they intimidate. And his presence alone is enough to make opponents think twice about crossing the line. Number 3. Michael Haley. If there was ever a guy born 20 years too late, it's Michael Haley. He played in the modern NHL, but fought like it was still 1994. No helmets, no fear, no rules. Haley wasn't a regular top 6 forward. He wasn't flashy, but what he lacked in skill, he made up for in brutal, unrelenting carnage. He once led the league in fights while playing only 39 games, a stat that perfectly captures who he was. Every shift could end with a glove drop, and every fight could end with someone unconscious. He tangled with the league's best, Matt Martin, Chris Neal, even Ryan Reaves, and held his own. No chirping, no nonsense, just fists and fire. Haley didn't fight for the spotlight. He fought because it was in his DNA, and that made him genuinely terrifying. Number 2, Kevin Bieksa. You know how most guys square up, circle around, and cautiously throw jabs? Not Kevin Bieksa. He invented the Superman punch, lunging, airborne, fist-first chaos that turned his fights into instant viral moments. But don't mistake flash for softness. Bieksa was as tough as they come, a defenseman with the fight record of a career enforcer. He fought guys bigger, meaner, younger, and almost always won. And what made it worse for his opponents? He was smart. He knew how to bait you, when to strike, how to make the crowd explode, and the other team crumble. He wasn't fighting just to prove something. He was fighting to break momentum, crush spirit, and win games. And if you ever saw him smirking before a face-off, just know it wasn't going to end well for you. Number 1, Trevor Gillies. You might not find Trevor Gillies on a scoring sheet, but you'll definitely find him in the nightmares of anyone who fought him. Gillies didn't play a lot of NHL games, but when he did, it felt like you were watching a bar fight inside a hockey rink. No one brought more chaos in fewer minutes. He didn't just fight, he attacked, elbows flying, fists hammering, eyes wide with rage. It wasn't about honor, it was about damage. His fight with Eric Bolton is still talked about in enforcer circles. 90 seconds of pure, vicious, violent madness. Trevor Gillies played like he was mad that hockey even had rules. He was the final boss in an era trying to evolve, and every time he stepped on the ice, you could feel a storm coming. Not a player, not a goon, a force of nature. And that's it, the 15 hockey enforcers you never wanted to fight. Who did we miss? Which brawler gave you chills growing up? Drop a name in the comments. And if you like this walk through modern mayhem, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories from the wild side of the NHL. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, always keep your head up.